everyone, today we're going to be making this card. I'm actually going to change it up with you just a little bit. I figure the colors are perfect for Valentine's Day, so we're going to turn this into a Valentine's Day. This is actually a birthday card for one of my nieces, but because this is a celebration stamp, I can't actually demonstrate this to you guys right now because celebration doesn't start for a little while. I believe it starts on the 22nd, so we still have a couple weeks or so. But this is what it looks like on the inside, and this is a retired stamp. And I actually am going to be using some retired bits and pieces and some brand spanking new bits and pieces from the spring catalog, and that's about all I have to tell you for this about this. So let's get started. Alright, so I'll tell you about all the pieces we're going to use first. This is one of the retired pieces. You can actually get this from the clearance rack. Just a strip of that. This is the Primrose Petals satin stitched ribbon, and I've just made it into a little a little bow. Using the Ovals collection framelits, I made this. It's kind of like a little oval frame, and it's using cherry cobbler cardstock. So what I did was I just took a piece of scrap cherry cobbler cardstock, and I used the third smallest and the fourth smallest ovals. Okay, and what I did, I actually put them through my Big Shot together. So if you want to do it that way and save yourself some time, that's awesome. We're going to pretend like this is the piece that I'm going to use. What you'll do is you'll lay your small oval down, and it actually doesn't matter. You could lay your large oval down first, then your small oval. If you're going to put them through your Big Shot together, doesn't really matter. But if you're going to do it separately, I would cut your smaller oval first, and then take your larger oval and just frame that smaller oval. So it would kind of look like this. So say you take your smaller oval first and you cut out your hole. Then you're going to take your larger oval, and let's just pretend like this piece fits perfectly without these little gaps right here. You would just frame it like that, and you would end up getting this piece like this. But if you want to save yourself some time, you'll go ahead and send them through your Big Shot or your Cuttlebug together. So you would do it like this. Taking your decorative label punch, which looks like this, you're going to take the side of your label, and you're going to just take a piece of scrap cherry cobbler and punch out, that's roughly, okay, just punch the little piece out like this. And it'll look like that. And using this stamp from the Oh Hello stamp set, which is new in the spring catalog, love it. Alright, you're going to ink it up really well in Pretty in Pink ink. And you're just going to stamp it down on a piece of Whisper White cardstock. Using the Delightful Dozen, which you know I love this, I use it so much. I used to be my Valentine stamp. And I inked it up really well in cherry cobbler. And then after I stamped my Pretty in Pink down, I stamped the Be My Valentine down, and then I cut it out using the framelit. So it looks like that. It's nice and zigzaggy and pretty. I love it. And alright, so then you're going to cut a couple of pieces of Primrose Petals and cherry cobbler. You're going to cut one piece at 2.5 by 3 3/4. Another piece of cherry cobbler at 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. You're going to cut a piece of Primrose Petals at 2 3/8 by 3 5/8. And then another piece at 2 1/8 by 3 1/8. Alright, and then you're going to layer all those pieces together. But before you do that, you're going to want to corner punch the top left corner and bottom right corner, or to you, top left corner and bottom right corner of each one of those pieces. Cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and you're going to cut that to 4 by 5 1/4. So 4 by 5 1/4. And you see I've already done a lot to this thing. I embossed it using the Petals-a-Plenty embossing folder. And I put some sticky strip on it, and you'll see why in a moment. I put pieces on the back and then one on the front, and you'll see why in a moment. This is going to be your inside piece, and this is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And you'll see here I stamped down using that same stamp from the Oh Hello stamp set, which is this. I stamped that in the Whisper White craft ink. Alright, and just make sure that it's covered real well with the Whisper White. I stamped it down, and then I took the Forever With You stamp set and the Forever stamp, and I inked that up really well in the Cherry Cobbler ink. And I don't know how well that's coming across. You can actually, it looks like you can kind of see it, but the white comes through that Cherry Cobbler really nicely, so you have some sort of dark areas where you have that zigzaggy image coming through the Forever, and I love it. The last piece of paper is the Cherry Cobbler cardstock, and that is cut at 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. And one more thing that actually I forgot to tell you that you're going to use are the designer Builder-Breads. They look like this. So the next thing you're going to want to do is take your 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 Cherry Cobbler piece and your 2 1/8 by 3 1/8 Primrose Petals piece, these two pieces, and you're going to adhere them together. Make sure you line up those rounded corners correctly. Okay, so that will look like this. And you're going to put some adhesive on the back. Kind of center it out so that there's equal space between the top and the bottom. And then you're going to take your pleated ribbon, and this is where I go up about 1 1/4 inches from the bottom of the cardstock up, and that's where I put my pieces of red line tape. Remove the backing of the red line. Okay, so that's how that'll look, and then you just go back on the back, and you're just going to tighten down the back of it. So that's how that'll look. What you'll want to do is adhere these two pieces together and just kind of figure out where you want them to be on the card. And you'll position this where you want it as well. So leaving it there, leaving that like that, you're going to put some adhesive on the back of that. Just place it there. And you're going to take your oval piece and put some adhesive on the back of that. Just, again, snail. Right. And I'm taking my Crocodile. I know we don't sell this at Stampin' Up! Anymore, so you can always just go to Michael's and find one of these. I'm going to use the smaller hole. And taking my brad, I'm going to kind of figure out where I want it placed. So then I'm just going to take my Crocodile and give it a punch, so it'll look kind of like that. And then you're going to take one of the large pearls. There you go. Okay, now I'm going to take some dimensionals, and I'm going to put them on the back of that piece. And position it where you want it. Alright, then we're going to put some pearls here. These three are the regular basic pearls, and they're the largest of the pack, so they're the bottom row of the pack. Okay, and I like to start in the middle. When I put if I'm using like a row of them, I like to start in the middle so that I get my spacing right. Then you're going to adhere this whole front bit down. Okay, so it'll look like that. That's the front of it. Now you're going to take the Primrose Petals stitch satin ribbon, and using a hot glue gun, you're just going to take some glue and put a dot of it on this ribbon, and you're just going to place it. Okay, so that's the front. Alright, now to the inside. You're going to take your piece of Primrose Petals, and you're just going to take that, that oval frame, and using the two-way glue pen, run some two-way glue over the back of that oval, and all the way around it, and you're just going to take it and put it on to frame that oval. Then you're going to take your gel pen, your uni-ball gel pen, and just do some faux stitching all the way around that frame. And there you go. Adhere that to the inside of your card. That's what the front looks like. My camera's a little crooked. This is the inside. Here are the two of them together. This one is for my niece for her birthday. And there's the difference. I actually kind of like this one a little bit better. Alright, I hope you guys had fun. I did. This is a really perfect project and I really enjoyed making it. And I hope you find someone you can give it to or turn it into a birthday card, whichever you want to do. Until next time, happy stamping!